Hey all, Chris Bassett here, and I'll be doing a solo strategy for the dungeon prophecy on my Hunter. I'll be doing a breakdown of the game mechanics and a walkthrough of the dungeon. Let's get into it. Let's start off with the subclass setup, armor build, and weapon recommendations. So the most critical point to soloing the dungeon is to have high enough light level. This season, the regular cap is like 1570, so I'm 15 over the cap. If you can't gain access to high level activities, work on leveling up your artifact. You'll gain bonus light levels just by leveling that up. You can put a experience mod on your ghost for increased experience gains. I'd recommend at least being 10 power over the soft cap for the season. So let's talk about the subclass setup. The key to soloing difficult content on your Hunter is to abuse invisibility, and the Void Nightstalker has the most ways to do that. I recommend the Mobius Quiver for a high damage super that also weakens enemies so you can do additional damage. And then we're going to be using the Gambler's Dodge. Dodging near enemies recharges your melee ability. We're going to create an infinite loop of invisibility, where you dodge to go invisible, and then dodging while near enemies, it recharges your melee ability, and your melee ability also makes you invisible. I like to use the Vortex Grenade, which pulls enemies inward, as well as the Echo of Undermining to weaken the targets. Echo of Remnants gives your grenades increased duration. Feel free to swap that out with Echo of Persistence if you need more invisibility time. Both of the aspects are going to give you invisibility. You're going to want Vanishing Step and also Trapper's Ambush. And the last fragment is Echo of Obscurity, so when you do a finisher, you gain invisibility. So next, let's go over a couple options to help you augment your invisibility effects. Graviton Forfeit is an amazing exotic helm that increases invisibility effects. It adds 2 to 3 seconds on your invisibility, plus it dramatically increases your melee recharge if you're surrounded by enemies. Omni Oculus is also amazing. You gain a second smoke bomb charge, which makes it easier to rotate your abilities, and then you also gain damage resistance, which is really hefty. I did throw in Gemini Jester as well, because when you dodge near enemies, they go blind for like 2 seconds. So in order to keep this infinite invisibility loop going, your mobility is going to be the most critical stat to focus on. You're going to want your dodge to be as low as a cooldown as it can possibly be, so aim for 100 mobility. The next stat to focus on is resilience. At 100 resilience, you gain 40% damage resistance. Your recovery and discipline are probably the third things to focus on, and then your intellect and strength, I really wouldn't put too much concern into those two. Next up is the specific armor affinities as well as the mods to slot into your armor. Having the stasis affinity on your class item will allow you to equip utility kickstart. Double utility kickstarts are really critical for getting your dodge down to 9 seconds. Perpetuation on a void class item does the same thing, but it comes in second place. I would definitely recommend putting an arc affinity on your chest piece. That way you can socket in double arc resist, because most of the enemies in the dungeon shoot arc at you, as well as the Powerful Friends mod. With Powerful Friends and the arc resist mod in the same chest piece, you gain the bonus 20 mobility. So it's one step closer to getting to that 100 mobility tier. As for the other affinities, you're looking to build a system in which you can become charged with light before you do boss damage. Since you're a solo player, the high energy fire mod, which gives you 20% weapon damage, is going to be incredibly useful for damaging bosses. On my setup, I have Reaping Wellmaker, where I dodge to make a well, and then I have Elemental Charge, where I pick up a well to become charged with light. So it's pretty simple to dodge, kill an enemy, pick up the well, and then you're charged with light for the boss damage phase. Since we'll be using Risk Runner as our primary weapon, Arc Siphon in conjunction with Taking Charge will allow you to generate orbs of power and then pick those up to become charged with light. The last suggestion I'd give would be Empowered Finish, where you finish an enemy to become charged with light, but then your super is reduced, so you'd have to work that into the gameplay. Let's talk about weapons next. Since the idea is to basically stay invisible most of the time, you want a shotgun to deal high burst damage to the knights so you can quickly go invisible again. I would definitely bring a scout rifle along, because there's a few of the instances where you need long range to deal with the enemies from safety. The exotic of this dungeon I would recommend would be Risk Runner. Risk Runner is going to serve two purposes. One, it's an ad clearing machine for all the thrall, as well as when you are damaged by arc, Risk Runner creates a shield to resist incoming arc damage. It's also free to play friendly, as everyone can obtain Risk Runner. The only downside is the limited range, which if you do masterwork the submachine gun, the masterwork definitely helps improve that. Next up is the heavy weapons. Linear fusion rifles are in a good place right now. The gunsmith has been selling the Taipon for a while, and you can get some really ridiculous rolls. I have triple tap and focused fury on mine. All but one of the encounters you're going to want a long distance weapon. When you fight the phalanx boss, a sword is going to be necessary. Getting up close and personal is going to be the easiest way to handle him. Falling guillotine used to be a world drop. I think Zur sells it occasionally in his loot pool. If you can't find it there, I know Dares of Eternity, you can also get it as a drop. The main perk you're looking for on your sword is Relentless Strikes. Alright, with the setup out of the way, let's get into the dungeon. From the destinations page, go to Legends, and then highlight the Prophecy Dungeon. So I'm going to speed up the video, that way I can narrate and it's not too boring for you guys. Just go ahead and walk forward till you teleport to this first area. So the basic mechanics of this dungeon is to kill the knights in either a light or a dark area to get light motes or dark motes to spawn. Each time you kill a knight, it will drop 3 motes depending on where you're standing when you kill it. So if you're standing in a shadowed area, it'll drop 3 dark motes. If you're standing in a light area, it'll drop 3 light motes. If you look in the lower left-hand corner, it'll also give you a visual indication of whether you're standing in light or dark. It'll change from a light hue to a dark hue. Once you have 5 motes total, then you'll be able to activate the switch. There's 2 different types of switches. They're those half-circular gold platforms that have a beam of light protruding from them. That one has a light beam, so you'd need 5 light motes to activate it. So for a lot of the strategy, it revolves around weakening the knights till they're very low on health, standing in a particular area, either light or dark, and then killing them rapidly, and then you can collect the motes and then activate the switch. The reason you want to lower their health and then kill them simultaneously is because you need 5 total motes to gain the ability to trigger the switch. And the motes don't stay there indefinitely. They disappear after a short amount of time. So you have a limited window to collect the motes. Once you've collected the motes, you have a 30-second timer before the mote disappears. So one of the most critical things you can do is look at the lower left-hand corner, because you're going to be juggling a lot of abilities and a lot of timers. Don't worry though, once you get enough practice, it'll become like second nature. So you're going to be juggling the invisibility timer with the mote timer in order to stay out of danger. This is why Hunter is a perfect class to learn this dungeon, because you can stay invisible while you learn the mechanics, and it's basically a stress-free way to get used to the cycles of the dungeon while not being worried about getting attacked with enemies. So in this end area, just go ahead and continue to jump upwards until you can jump to the next arena where you're going to fight the phalanx boss. So the strategy is pretty much the same as before. You're going to have 4 different platforms you need to activate. Generally, they're 2 light and 2 dark. So the phalanx boss will spawn in. He has an immunity shield, so he won't be available to damage until after you've activated all 4 switches. Generally speaking, when the waves of enemies spawn in, there will be 3 knights and a lot of scions. So this is where you'll want to clear out the ads first. Make sure that you get rid of the scions as soon as possible, because they're really going to do a lot of damage once they start multiplying. This is where Risk Runner comes into play, as you become overcharged from the scion shots, the arc damage, and then the chain lightning will help clear out the ads really quickly. Something else to note is the boss does have a pushback attack, so if he sees you, he will shoot his shield and it will blast you potentially out of the arena. It'll force you back, and you may actually end up dying by falling out of the ring. the way to negate that is to take cover behind something. Generally towards the center of the arena, there's a lot of different cover to hide behind. But if you do get pushed out, try to use your jump ability to get back in, or if you have your sword equipped, you can sword swing, hopefully, and get back on the platform. Something else that can really help your survivability is if you go invisible before you try to trigger the switch with the motes. So you can use a finisher on an enemy to gain invisibility and then safely activate the switch. My strategy for the Phalanx encounter is to first clear all the ads, so you just have a couple of knights and then the boss. Do some high burst damage with the shotgun to weaken both knights simultaneously, and then make sure you're standing in the area for the type of moat you need, whether that's light or dark. So there, I need a dark moat. So I'm going to weaken both knights, and then I'm going to stand in the dark area, kill both of them at the same time, go invisible, pick up all 5 motes, and then while I'm still invisible, I'll be able to trigger the dark switch. If you're wondering why I'm not constantly killing and shooting and moving, you need to juggle your timer. It's more important to maintain invisibility above damaging the enemies. So I'm maintaining my invisibility cooldowns. I'm watching as the timer slowly ticks down, 4, 3, 2, and then 1 second left, and then I do the other ability. So whether that's I dodge to go invisible or I slam to go invisible. So as long as your mobility is high enough, you have the right aspect or exotic equipped, and then you're making sure to dodge near enemies, you should always have an invisibility tool ready to go. So yeah, carrying the motes while invisible and jumping around is very important to staying alive, especially if there's a lot of ads, scions, shooting you while you're jumping around in the air. That's going to be the quickest way for you to get killed. So again, timing my invisibility cooldowns, going to get rid of the ads, focus the knights to very small health, stand in the appropriate light or dark area, kill the knights simultaneously, become invisible, and then pick up the motes. If there's ever a time when there's only 1 knight spawned in, just go ahead and kill him off. That way you can get 3 knights to spawn back in, so you can do the double knight strategy. I'm going to skip ahead to the damage phase. So I'm going to kill this last knight, pick up the motes I need, go invisible, then pick up the motes I need. I'm going to activate the last switch, and then it'll be time for the damage phase. Your super should be ready, so jump up, tether the boss, and then go ahead and pull out your sword and start taking swings at him. I'd recommend you save your grenade for after the tether effect wears off. That way you can extend the duration of the weaken effect. I just use the regular strikes and just keep plowing away at him. Don't forget, if you do get hurt or you need to take a break so you don't die, obviously, jump away, become invisible, and then continue the attack. If you do see an immunity shield go on the boss, occasionally hobgoblins in the arena will shoot that beam from their eye and make him temporarily invulnerable. So you have to kill them to begin the damage again. You'll know that the damage phase is over when that enveloping shield surrounds the entire boss. Then it's time to retreat and start the second or potentially third damage phases. The strategy will just then repeat itself. Look around the arena, see which types of switches you're dealing with. Sometimes it may be 3 dark, 1 light, 2 dark, 2 light. It just depends. It's random. So you'll go ahead and make sure all the ads are dead, chip away at the knight's health, stand in the appropriate location, kill both knights, deposit the motes on the switches, drop the boss's shield, and then kill the boss. I did forget to mention a few mods to have. If you have the sword scavenger, sword ammo finder mods, that'll help with getting heavy ammo bricks. You can equip those mods into your helmet and leg armor, respectively. For the next area, we're going to switch up weapon types a little bit. We'll no longer be using the shotgun, we'll be using a scout rifle. A few of the enemies, the hobgoblins, the minotaurs, will be fighting from a long distance. So get rid of your sword and equip your linear fusion rifle and then your scout rifle. Also, because we're switching weapons, we can now rotate the mods out of the helmets. so we can get linear fusion rifle finder and scavenger. If you're missing some of these mods, don't forget that Ada1 at the tower sells them, and her stock rotates daily. So don't forget to check back every day and see what she has for sale. If you can't actively log into Destiny, you can also use the Destiny app on your phone to access the vendors and then buy whatever goods they have for sale. The scout rifle I'm using is a servant leader, and that dropped from Gambit. And then the Typon 4, the linear fusion rifle, Banshee, the gunsmith, sold that one. When you're ready, go ahead and hop on that purple portal to get teleported to the next area. So the mechanics for this next area work as such. Take your Sparrow around to different locations and destroy the blights. This central location, head over here to find a secret chest. It's just on the other side of this sand wall. The entrance is covered in a gold dust. There's a Minotaur, they're invisible. There's a few of them in this zone, so pull away, get some distance, and then kill him. And Minotaur down, we'll go ahead and go over to the secret chest. But first, there's a blight spawn location, so we'll go over to the blights, we'll deal with that. Typically speaking, when you hop into one of this area, 3 hobgoblins spawn in, so make sure you take out your scout rifle and deal with them first, because their sniper shots will definitely kill you. Each area for the blights have different style of taken enemies. One has phalanx with a shield, some have captains, and then others have like hobgoblins. And all 3 of the styles of blight locations have thralls. So I would definitely throw your grenade at the most challenging enemy types, draw them in, and then kill them as quick as possible. Also be mindful of the thrall. They can definitely group up on you and then pose a real problem if they get too close and there's too many of them. Obviously use your invisibility to stay safe. Once the heavier unit is down, whether that's the captain, the phalanx, or the hobgoblins, then go ahead and proceed into the blights and jump on top of the black ball and then shoot at your feet. That way you can destroy each blight. If you're standing on the ground and shooting the blight, you'll take damage. But if you jump on top of the ball, for some reason you won't take damage, but you can damage the ball. So as long as you take this area pretty slow and methodically, you should have no problem, breaking all 3 blights and then proceeding to the next area. Once all 3 are done, proceed to the center ring of each area and you'll see that white ball. That's Toland. Watch where he goes and that'll be the direction that you want to go. Just repeat the process, killing the Minotaur that guards the area, destroying the hobgoblins up top so they don't snipe you, and then the 3 blights. So don't forget the secret chest was to the left of where we spawned in. It's this little structure here. I got a Minotaur we got to take down. The entrance to the secret chest has that gold sand near it. So if you come across this spot, just go ahead and go inside and down to the left, and there's a hidden chest. The hidden chest will give you a little bit of glimmer as well as a legendary piece of armor. Stat rolls can be pretty good, anywhere from high 50s to low 60s. Pushing forward, we'll go ahead and destroy all the blights, and in the last Toland you'll hear a special little ding and a text that reads, "The way is open." And that's how you know you're done with the puzzle and you can go ahead and go to the next area. Head to the back of the map and you'll see a monolith with a singular vertical line that's pink. Just go ahead and drive up the stairs and inside and you'll go to the next boss fight. For the next area, the dungeon mechanics are as follows. You're in a square room and you'll need to kill the knights and take the moats to one of 5 locations. It can be the north wall, the south wall, the east wall, the west wall, or the ceiling. That little white ball that you've been chasing the blights around, Tolan, will be in one of 5 locations. So you'll need to identify where he's at and then what color pillar he is above. Then kill the knights while standing in the appropriate location to get that color moat to trigger the next stage in the dungeon. So I'm going to switch back to my shotgun so I can deal with the knights, and then my linear fusion rifle is going to be my ranged weapon In this section, you'll need to kill hobgoblins up on the ceilings or the walls in order to get the knights to spawn in. Once you've flipped the room several times, 2 phalanx bosses will spawn in, and then you'll be done with this room. So hop in the middle to start the encounter. I always like to go to this back corner. So the first thing you want to do is kill the hobgoblins to get the knights to spawn in. There's 2 per session. In this encounter, I wouldn't worry about killing the adds because they just spawn in indefinitely. So the main focus here is to start by killing the 2 hobgoblins. That gets the knights to spawn in. From then, you'll maintain your invisibility while you look for Toland to see where he's at. So say, for example, he's on the west wall and he's underneath the dark pillar. So we'll want the knights to drop dark motes. So we'll use the shotgun to damage the knights until they're both at low health. Stand in a dark location. Kill them both simultaneously to drop dark motes, become invisible, take it to the pillar, activate it, and then it'll trigger the next sequence. If Toland is on the ceiling, then any combination will work. You just need to flip the room around. So kill the knights and activate any trigger that you want. But okay, so there he is, he's right there, and he's dark. So what we're looking to do is to maintain invisibility, slowly chunk the knights down, and then kill them while standing in the dark. So I got both of them in the dark. I'm waiting for invisibility to come back. Gonna go invisible, pick up my motes, and then go to where Toland was at. He was over here. Activate the panel, go invisible, and then stand in the middle of the room, and that'll teleport you to the next area. So that's the basic strategy for this encounter. Should you make a mistake, this room is very simple to reset. Say you shoot a knight out of position, or the motes fall into a hole, or you don't do the right symbol. Just kill both knights, then you have to kill the hobgoblins again, get new knights to spawn in, locate Toland, kill the knights, deposit the motes, and then flip the room. Like I said, this usually takes 4 to 6 tries before you get the bosses to spawn in, and each room's geography is just a little bit different. So keep an eye on the floor, because sometimes there's holes in the floor, sometimes there's elevated platforms. The light and the dark areas change depending on where you need to stand. So as long as you're maintaining your invisibility cooldowns, and you just stay invisible the entire time, you have plenty of learning opportunity to see where Toland is, where the enemies move, how they react, and so on and so forth. Something else that is helpful is, since the enemies continuously respawn in, as long as you do your jump melee slam into the ground, that does enough damage to kill them. So you get plenty of special ammo bricks to drop, and you don't even really need to shoot them. This is one of the areas of the dungeon where you don't even worry about any other enemies besides the hobgoblins and knights. So I saw Toland was above a white pillar. I killed the knights in the light. Go over, trigger the light pillar, go invisible, and then stand in the center, and that'll go to the next area. So I'm going to go ahead and jump to the end with the boss fight. Generally, the strategy is to dump a super, kill them pretty quick. They're actually not that difficult. You can shotgun them or linear fusion rifle them in the head pretty easily. And if you get into trouble, you can go invisible, and then those tracking shots will ignore you. So one thing I didn't mention was, in this room, it's especially critical to just keep an eye on your cooldowns and just wait, just be patient. If you're trying to shoot too quickly or go too quickly, you got to rotate your cooldowns. So balance between, your dodge invisibility and your melee invisibility. And as long as you're patient and you're slow and methodical, it's actually quite a bit easier than if you try to rush. So went ahead and killed both the phalanx, chest spawned in, Got an armor piece. No, a shotgun. Okay, or pulse rifle. I don't know. Whatever. So there's the next area. Just hop up and continue along until you're able to spawn in your sparrow, and then you'll go back across the desert and on to the next encounter. So I'm going to fast forward through a lot of this, and then the next area is a jumping puzzle. Just follow the Kill Echo as he teleports across the map, and he'll lead you to the next area. We're going to switch weapons off the shotgun and back to your scout rifle. Since some of the enemies in this area are long distance, vandals and such, you'll want to pick them off from a distance. I actually flubbed my flawless run in this area because I was going too fast on the Sparrow and I flew off the map. So any of these three paths will take you down to the bottom. What you're looking to do is basically drive your Sparrow all the way down through all the pyramids, and then the jumping puzzle at the end is the finish line. So I'm going to cut the video. This is the last area before the end. You can look over here to the left and see that's where you need to go on your Sparrow to get to the secret chest. There's a vandal there, but that pyramid contains the secret chest. So that area right there with all the squares, that's the end area before you teleport to the next room. So if you want the secret chest, you got to follow that path and then go inside that pyramid. So hop on your Sparrow and carefully drive all the way down. Okay, I'm approaching the pyramid. The secret chest is in the corner to the right-hand side. So just jump off and head down in between these two bricks. Follow the path, jump across the gap, and on the other side of the stairs, there's a chest up on the right-hand side. Collect your loot and then return back the direction you came. Just go ahead and go out the front of the pyramid and down onto the platform. Once you come out of the front of the pyramid, just run off the edge, jump down, just kind of walk around in the area. It should take a moment or two, and then it'll vacuum you up into the next area. In this next area, there is a bunch of thrall, so I'd go ahead and do your final weapon change. That way you can collect special ammo off them. So for the boss fight, boss encounter, we're going to want a shotgun, the Risk Runner, and then a linear fusion rifle. So make sure everything's set up. You want your Charged with Light to go, because this is going to be the most important time to activate Charged with Light. You need roughly like 6.6 million damage points to kill the boss. So come up the stairs and go ahead and destroy the thrall, collect your ammo, and then move on to the final area. So let's talk about strategy for the final boss encounter. You're going to spawn into a room. The rooms, depending on the boss phase, change, the geography changes, but the game mechanics are all the same. So you're going to have 3 areas, and the Kill Echo copy will be standing in each of the 3 areas. In front of him will be a pillar. It'll either be light or dark, and you will have enemies, tons of enemies spawning in, along with 2 knights. So the same mechanics as before, where you will see which... So there's a dark pillar, there's light, and dark. So the idea is to kill the knights while standing in the appropriate area, pick up the motes, dunk the mote, and then an ogre will spawn right next to you. Kill that ogre, do that 3 times, then you can teleport to do a damage phase on the boss. So a lot of strategy I use for this room is to just maintain your invisibility. See which area you want to do first. So I'm standing in the light. I'm going to finisher the knight to get light motes because I'm standing in the light. I'm watching my timers. That knight was ready to die in the light. I went invisible, picked up the light motes, come over here to the pillar, slam it, and then these little boxes on either side are a good place for cover. I try to throw a grenade down and then kill that ogre as fast as possible. Your shotgun also works well, but keep in mind the priority here is to stay alive. You don't need to kill that ogre immediately. you can go invisible and then kill him at your leisure. So the main priority is to stay invisible, because you can always damage the enemies sporadically after you're at full health. So here I'm going to stay invisible, look at the knight, I'm going to chunk his health, finish her to be invisible. I'm standing in the light to get the light motes to drop, watching my timers, kill the other knight, go invisible, pick up the other motes. Now I'm invisible with the light mote, go over here, slam the pillar, jump behind cover, throw a grenade. Oh, my grenade's not ready, so I'm just going to shotgun him, dodge invisible, going to recover because it's invisibility is your highest priority here. I'm going to dodge to stay invisible, and now I can slam to kill all the ads. And then I'm going to take out the ogre and the knights. So if you look at the geography of the different rooms, you see there's different light and dark areas. So this is always the starting room, but you do have other rooms that may have holes in the floor, or you may have really long distance between light and dark areas. So that can be tricky, and that's when you want to bring the knights down low health simultaneously and have just a sliver of health on both of them. That way you can use the risk runner to finish them off while standing in a light or dark area. And then you have 30 seconds to collect the motes. So you've got plenty of time, so there's no need to rush before you have to activate the pillar. So that's the basic strategy for this final boss area. So I accidentally killed the knight in the light, gave me the wrong motes, which, like I said, is easy recovery. Just wait for new knights to spawn in, make sure you get in the shadowed area, and then pick up the dark motes for the appropriate pillar. Once all the pillars have been cleansed, or whatever you want to call it, then you're ready for the boss damage phase. So there's a certain strategy I like to try before I get ready to damage the boss. Something you can do is, if you don't have enough heavy ammo, just camp out in this room. The thrall will spawn infinitely, so you can just continue to camp here and just wait until you get heavy ammo bricks. That way you have full heavy ammo going into the boss fight. The other thing I like to do is to become charged with light. So my current setup, I dodge to go invisible, and then my first kill with my weapon drops a well. I pick up that well, and now I'm charged with light. Whatever you have to do to set up a charge with light build, I would definitely do that thing prior to going into the boss fight. So you're charged with light, your weapons will be doing 20% extra damage. Then once you're ready, go ahead and step on the teleporter, different locations for different rooms. I'd look down at your feet. I've actually had one time when I hit the wall and I died. So spawn in the room. I like to shoot the boss in the head until it says stacks of entropy as it's 6. Dark entropy is basically a countdown. When it gets to 10, you die. The boss has an aura around his body that you need to be inside of so you don't take that entropy damage and die. So my strategy involves damaging the boss until about 6 or 7, and then maintaining invisibility. So I'll run by the enemies, and I'll get inside his aura. That way that entropy lowers. Keep dodging near enemies to maintain invisibility. Take your time. He's kind of slow teleporting, but I'm making my way to the back of the arena. I'm using the enemies to gain invisibility charge as I go to the backside. So I only primarily damage him in 2 phases. At the very beginning, when I'm shooting him, and then at this very end part. So I like to dodge to kill these guys, pick up more stacks of light, and then tuck behind this pillar right here and do some damage to him. Now keep in mind, when he shoots those blasts at you, you need to take cover, otherwise that blast will teleport you. So I'm going to save my super and my grenade for right now. When he teleports on this last area, I'm going to shoot the quiver, throw the grenade, take cover behind this pillar, and then unload all my heavy ammo into him. So it seems like, in my opinion, I have a lot more success with only damaging the boss at the very beginning and the very end. I can usually get it done in about 3 damage phases. When I try to damage him while I'm running on the platforms, the hobgoblins kill me pretty quick, so this is the simplest way I figure. So when he teleports away, just go ahead and jump down in here. I can continue to look at your feet. Like I said before, I've died as I come into the arena. But the same thing applies as before, where you're going to look at the 3 locations to see what color the pillars are, find the knights, kill them in the appropriate light or dark area, pick up the motes, dunk the 3 motes, kill the ogres, and then on to the next boss fight. So I'm going to fast forward. I did another damage phase, and then he had just a little bit of health left. So I'm going to chuck a grenade, hit him with the grenade, and then I'm going to unload some heavy ammo. If he has less than probably a quarter health, I bet you can finish it here. So if you shot your super through your grenade and then had enough heavy ammo, if he's within a quarter health, you don't need to jump to the back. And yeah, so I've found this successful as far as a strategy to defeat the boss. Hey, check out this other video right here. I've got an Amazon link for electronics that are on sale. Use that link to help the channel at no cost to you. If you have any questions, put it in the comments. Thanks.